Good afternoon. It's almost evening, but I mean, it looks like evening, but it's not really. This is ameenraja, and I'm with you. This is on Relax TV. You are watching Relax TV from wherever you're in the world. Yes, you can join me live wherever you are. Make sure put your comments, and here we are. Yes, this is Raja, and just like I promised, I'm going to give you a tour for the ones who cannot actually go out of home at the moment due to this COVID-19 situation and lockdown, or in fact, rather, shall we, tier four. It's almost like lockdown. But then again, some shops are still open. And I was telling you where you can go, what you can do, and what you are missing and what you're not missing. Well, let me tell you something. You're not missing much because shops are the same, unless it gives you pleasure to go out and spend some money for nothing. Yes, then you do need to do some shopping. Otherwise, yeah, there isn't much, and it's very dull now. It used to be earlier on when I started, it was nice and sunny, which is no longer. It is now dull and depressing again. This is why I hate winter. But the shortest day has passed away now. Of course, it's gradually getting longer, slowly by minutes. And wherever you are in the world, you can participate by sharing this radio or television program with your friends and family. You might be watching on YouTube or you might be watching on Facebook. If you are, please don't forget to subscribe our channel on YouTube. And if you think that you'd like to tell something to the people, if there is anything that is bothering you, maybe you want to share. Okay, do you think this tier four is any good to anyone? Because if I think if all the shops were open, then people or the shoppers could go and spread themselves onto different shops. Crowd will be less. Whereas if you talk about these shops like Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda's, they're overcrowded and there is no social distancing because people are just doing whatever they need to do. Now, if all the shops were open, that probably would have been spread nicely. Okay? Anyways, the shops still have goods, and so you don't need to really rush. The whole thing is going to be closed for a day, and there are some Turkish 24-hour shops are still open, so you are not going to be out of food, and you should be able to purchase food all the time. Yes, after Brexit, probably the food price or the things that we use every day might increase in price. That is a problem that we will have to face, sadly. A lot of people are probably watching news at the moment, and you can see that how the what do you call it? The crossing is in a mess at the moment to Europe and the border. And of course, let me remind you again, this is a drive time show, and I am taking you from Essex to London. Okay, so you can see the traffic on the road is still there. Yeah. Well, I hate these lorries sometimes. And in about 2014, I had a severe accident due to one of these lorries uh, were dropping debris, got into my wheel, busted my wheel, and I had an accident because of that. Because the tire busted, and I could not control my car anymore. Luckily, I was not speeding, but if I was, then I would not be here today. Okay, whoever has joined me now, thank you so much for joining me, and I will appreciate furthermore if you are going to share this with your friends and family. I'm on A13 going towards the west, and you can see the road. It's kind of nice to see things like this because it's kind of fascinating. But anyway, let me just overtake this. That was my wiper. I had to show you that it works. Okay, now, yeah, it does get a bit misty with this water coming from this with a vehicle going over some puddles. Okay, right. So my speed limit is perfectly fine. I'm going just below 30. This area is a little bit poorly. Internet was a little bit poorly here, so I cannot apologize for this because it's the network. Currently, I'm using three. And of course, the whole network, they talk about their network is the best, they have the best coverage. I'm finding it very difficult. You don't know who to be with. I mean, are any of these networks are good? I don't know. But it would be good to have a good 5G network. They talk about 5G, but the phones are still can't even give us 3G properly, and they talk about 5G. So it's just a gimmick trying to sell the devices. By the time 5G really works, iPhone probably will become iPhone 20. Yeah, right. Here we are, and still on the motorway. Is there anything that you would like to share? You want to talk to me about? You can write your comments. If you write comments, I can see them very clearly because I can see them very clearly on Stay safe. Yeah, well, you're trying to advertise your company. Great. Even better. Right. By actually taking our small packages, you can advertise on Relaxed Radio almost for a fraction of the cost. I mean, it's like for peanuts. Peanuts, you can advertise on Relaxed Radio because we are here to help you. We understand. Okay, humanity comes first. So therefore, if you would like to advertise on Relaxed Radio, by all means do that. You don't have to do it the cheap way. Okay, now going to going back to London, and as you can see, what does it say? Dagenham East, A1306. Okay, right. How many people know their roads? I mean, do you know the roads by their numbers? Well, I know A13, I know A12, A1, M1, and M25, A406. How many roads do you know? M4, yeah, I know now M4 as well. But how many roads do you know? You can share your comments, and let's see. If anybody would like to write their comments, by all means, you can do that. And if you think, no, you know what, I would like to participate in this show, by all means. This is a short show just to give you a bit of an idea of the road. Whoever cannot travel or whoever don't want to travel and who are restricted to travel, well, for you, you're not missing much from time to time. The buffering situation, it's due to the mobile network. I can see a sign of a McDonald's over there. Right, let's see what else. I feel like having some halal KFC. Maybe I should go to the KFC and get some hot wings. I feel like having something spicy. Before then, I will take you to Galleon's Ridge to see Tesco and the crowd in Tesco. Right, wherever you are in the world, yes, you can participate by texting. Send your SMS on the for the what should I say on the Facebook and on WhatsApp if you want to. Remember, memorize our number 07852 473 473 or 07582 473 473. Wherever you are in the world, you can listen to Relax Radio 24/7. Download our app on your mobile devices and listen to Relax Radio. Relax Radio speaks your language, Shuddha Bangla, Sylheti Bangla, English, Urdu, Hindi. Yeah, we try to cater your needs. And yeah, coming to a traffic light, which is in Dagenham. Normally, this is very busy. You can't drive through. You get stuck at least half a mile from the traffic light due to this traffic light. But luckily, this traffic light is not getting in our way today. But of course, this is the only traffic light from Essex to London until you come to A406. So, or A13, I think the first one would be. Oh, let's see how smart you are. So, if you're traveling from, let's say, Essex to, I mean, for Lakeside to East London, where would you get your first traffic light on A13? And where would be your second? Let's see how smart you are. You can share your answers. You can write to us on this. Yes, I am going over the flyover. It looks so beautiful to see the sky the way it is. You can see. And traffic on the other side seems a bit more going towards Essex than people going towards London. And yeah, thank you very much for my viewers, whoever is there, and you're participating in this. And I'll appreciate that you share it with your friends, please. Let me see if I can get you some classical music or songs so that at least while I'm driving, you can at least hear some of that.
We will, of course, release.
That's the news. Let's listen to the news a little bit.
The people who've had the vaccine very carefully, as would anyway, in coming weeks, to determine whether they have a less risk of infection, both of clinical infection, but also of subclinical infection, particularly in healthcare workers who are getting regular screening. So we will have both laboratory data and then clinical data in weeks ahead that will help us. At the moment, though, we have all the faith in the vaccines that we have. They produce a broad response, and I would recommend that everyone who is offered one takes a vaccine.
Thanks very much, Dan. Next question is from Rob Powell at Sky.
Health Secretary, how confident are you that Tier 4 restrictions is enough to bear down on this new variant? And if it's not, what other levers have you got to pull to try and bear down on new variants? And to Dr. Harries as well, you've outlined some pretty stark increases in infections in recent days and weeks. Do you expect those percentage increases in infections to be mirrored in hospitalisations and ultimately deaths as we go further down the line? And if you do, what impact will that have on the NHS?
Well, Rob, in answer to your first question, it took us some time to work out the three-tiered system, which was calibrated to keep the old variant, the original variants, under control. And we got to a point that the tiered system, the three-tiered system, was effective against the old variants. In fact, there's an interesting study being published today in The Lancet that tests against the old variant against those three tiers. The critical question is Tier 4 working against the new variant, just as you asked in your question. We have made sure that the Tier 4 measures do as much as is reasonably possible, but it all depends on how people actually behave. You know, this is a partnership. There's so much that we can do in terms of setting the rules and legislating from government, with all of the consequences that those actions have. But there's something that every single person can and should do, especially with the vaccine. Actually, I was about to say on the horizon. It's not on the horizon. It's here. It's being injected into people's arms right now. And with just the time to get the vaccine rolled out left, we should all be extremely careful about the social actions we have, rules that we set in government. It's actually responsible way. They've done their bit. And of course it's easy to see, you know, pictures of people running trains and what have you, but actually that has been a small minority. So let's all stick at it and not give in to temptation, and that way we'll be able to get through it and make sure that tier 4 is indeed effective against the new variant. There was a further question embedded.
There was, I think, about case rate rises and how that translates to the NHS. So obviously you can see from the slides that that sharp rise in cases is going to need some stopping. Will, if you like, turn into more severe disease or more deaths. But clearly, if we have more cases, then we will see rising numbers, and those numbers are rising quite quickly now. But it's not inevitable that they will. If we do all take those behaviours to keep our distance over Christmas, limit the number of people that we're with, those numbers are not inevitable rises. And one area where I think it's important to are areas where we have seen very significant rates, sadly, of deaths before and serious cases. There are significant measures in place now, and Secretary of State has obviously highlighted this afternoon that testing is going in urgently in response to these rising case rates. So I think with all the hard work which the care home staff have been putting in, and the residents themselves, of course, in quite difficult circumstances, there are opportunities for us to ensure that these cases do not just automatically translate through into hospital cases.
Thanks, Rob. It's on us all. Jane Merrick at the Eye. Hi, Jane.
Hi there. Thank you. To the Health Secretary, first of all, you said that tier 3 is not enough to contain the new variant and that it is spreading at a dangerous rate. And across the country, hospital patients is at the peak in spring. Nerve tags said the new variant has seeded across the country. We're now hearing of a second new variant from South Africa. So why aren't we going into a full lockdown across the whole country? And if I could ask the medics, Neil Ferguson of Nerve Tag said this morning that there is a statistically significant, albeit small, evidence of an increased proportion of infections among the under 15s. Is there a case for mass testing in primaries and perhaps a staggered return for primaries as well as secondaries?
Thanks very much, Jane. And so the answer to the first question is that the new variant is highly concentrated, and the stay-at-home rule in the east, southeast and London is aimed at keeping this new variant from spreading across the country. And that's why we've taken the approach that we have in terms of the tiering and expanding the number of areas that are in tier 4. On the education question, I'm going to ask Susan to answer on the virology, and then Jenny to answer on the question of the consequences, especially for schools.
So firstly, we have no evidence that this virus is more transmissible in children yet. But what we do know is that when this virus took off, the children were one of the few things that were happening at the end of the last national restrictions that was still happening and mixing. So it was more likely that the transmission could start in that place. And I think we've seen that especially younger age teenagers have seen a higher number of infections. There's much less infection in primary school children, and we've seen that throughout the pandemic to date. And we will constantly take decisions with the experts in education over what is best for the children, along with controlling the virus. And I'll hand over to Jenny to add some more.
Just to add to that, I think.
Well, you're listening to or you're watching Relax TV. Yes, I wanted you to hear what is currently happening with the question and answers, because these question and answers are quite important for you to know. If you know this, then at least that helps. And throughout this, Facebook is even easier, and without keeping it so boring that you get to see the roads at the same time while you are getting this information. A lot of people have pulled back and moved away from listening to this news and listening to the information that politicians got to give you. And of course, by all means, you can see them elsewhere. But then we are currently in Lakeside. Sorry, I beg your pardon. This is Galleons Reach Tesco, where I'm just going there to pick up some medications. So yes, if there is anything you'd like us to pick up for you, let us know, and we'll let you know whether if they still have it in stock or not. So what would you like me to check out for you while I'm here? So let me know. 07. No, no. Let's do it on the comments. Let's see if there is anybody wants to send any comments. No, no one wants to know. So that's fine. Great. That means you are all perfectly well. Great. Well done. Keep safe. Keep well. That's what you should do. So I'm still going to drive through, and let's see what it's the situation. Meantime, listen to the more of these messages from the government.
How soon do you think you'll be able to stand before us and say that the vast majority of the British public have been vaccinated and this virus is beaten? And how many people do you expect to be vaccinated before Easter?
Oh, Sam, you're so tempting. I really want to have a stab at the answer, but the truth is we just don't know. It depends on the speed of manufacture. I'm really thrilled that the full data has been passed to the regulator, and I have every confidence that the regulator will look at it with great capability. I want to put no pressure on them in terms of the decision or the time of the decision. It is absolutely a matter for them. But then we've always said that the vast majority of the vaccinations will be in the new year. And I think that our vaccination program started before most people expected it to. We've made really good strides over the month of December so far, and we will go as fast as we possibly can. This will be a big task for the NHS. What I would say in terms of the number of people vaccinated is that I think we will get there by the spring, people should therefore just hold on and really try to resist temptation to do things that they shouldn't and to see people they don't need to. And I know that that is tough and it's going to be a tough winter, but the more people do that, the more quickly we're going to get through this together.
Right, so I'm going to start moving with this one. I'll show you a bit of the entrance of Tesco. I'm going to walk through. Let's see. And just on the market. Going towards Tesco. And if you want to see, or in fact, I can just show you. I can see. I have my mask on. The entrance. Everywhere. Everywhere. Actually, I will end this shot.